In today's Fight News episode, we have big updates from UFC 310 to UFC 313 and a lot more. We will start with Dublin's civil court, which finds Conor McGregor guilty of raping a woman in a Dublin hotel in December 2018, 2 months after his loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov. The victim, Nikita Hand, has been awarded $250,000 in damages. Nikita Hand testified that Conor McGregor brutally raped and battered her in a hotel penthouse. The victim claims that McGregor put her in a chokehold several times and later told her, "Now you know how I felt in the octagon where I tapped out 3 times." She said the assault left her heavily bruised and suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Conor, on the other hand, testified that he never forced the woman to do anything against her will and said she fabricated the allegations after the two had consensual sex. McGregor said the sex was athletic and vigorous but not rough, and that she never said no or stopped. His lawyer had called her a gold digger. Conor McGregor didn't say anything to the media outside of the court and speaks on Twitter after being found liable for sexual assault. McGregor says he will be appealing the decision and will soon be vindicated. After all of this, Conor's former rival Khabib Nurmagomedov reposted the McGregor sexual assault news. Khabib had claimed justice will find Conor back in 2019. Khabib's protege Islam Makhachev also goes off on McGregor and claims many more facts to come out. Jake Paul also hits McGregor on Twitter and he fires back in a quickly deleted post. And then he fires Plantina Mike Perry from BKFC after Mike fires Conor McGregor on Twitter. By the way, despite all of this and his loss to Charles Oliveira at UFC 309, Michael Chandler still hopes his showdown with Conor McGregor will finally happen next summer on International Fight Week. Former UFC heavyweight fighter Mark Hunt rips the greatest steroid user John Jones after his win at UFC 309 and claims he's got something for him on Wednesday. Johnny Mead, on the other hand, doesn't give an F and is happy to tie Anderson Silva's record for the most knockouts in title fights. He pays respect and gratitude to his personal GOAT. UFC 310 headliner Kai Asakura thinks it's in UFC's best interest for him to take Alexandre Pantoja's title at UFC 310. He shows his physique via social media and looks ready for his UFC debut in 2 weeks. The co-headliner of the event, Ian Machado Gary, is confident about his upcoming fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov and believes their sparring sessions will help making this fight better. He thinks he can take Shavkat's O along with the title shot and will become the new welterweight champion after that. You read somewhere in the preliminary card of UFC 310, former champion Aljamain Sterling thinks a win over Movsar Evloev gets him into the title conversation. He also helps his friend Merab Dvalishvili in dissing Umar Nurmagomedov so that Merab can duck him more easily. After Talison Teixeira's pullout from his UFC 310 fight with Lucas Brzeski, Kennedy Nzechukwu steps in on 2 weeks short notice to take on Brzeski in his second heavyweight assignment on December 7th. Their fight will kick off UFC 310 early preliminary card. By the way, official posters for UFC 310 as well as UFC Tampa are released. Headliner of UFC 311 is still yet to be announced, but probably its co-main event is revealed at UFC Macau post-fight broadcast. Jiri Prochazka will fight Jamahal Hill at UFC 311 on January 18th. Grant Dawson vs Diego Ferreira in a key lightweight matchup is also booked for UFC 311 in Los Angeles. Bogdan Grad's UFC debut is set for UFC Saudi Arabia, where he takes on Lucas Alexander on February 1st in Riyadh. Alexander Volkanovski says via his YouTube channel that there is no talk of fighting Diego Lopes for the interim featherweight belt at UFC 312 in Australia, but confirms his next fight will be Ilia Topuria rematch for the featherweight title. All eyes are now on Ilia Topuria. The event was rumored to be headlined by Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland, but then Strickland revealed he won't go to Australia. Now, number 6 middleweight Caio Borralho tells UFC on TNT that if Sean Strickland doesn't want to go to Australia, he will more than happily go there and fight DDP instead. He behaves like Khamzat Chimaev doesn't exist. Borralho says he won't shoot any takedowns and will knock out DDP on the feet. Bonfim brothers are back on the same card. Gabriel Bonfim takes on Rinat Fakhretdinov, and Ismail Bonfim will fight Nazim Sadikhov at UFC Vegas 102 on February 15th. Jose Delgado versus Conor Matthews is also added on the card. Lucas Almeida, on the other hand, returns on March 1st at UFC Vegas 103 to take on Danny Silva in the featherweight division. The first fight for UFC Mexico on March 29th is already announced, as Edgar Chairez will fight CJ Vergara in a flyweight bout. Event is rumored to be headlined by Diego Lopes versus Josh Emmett. Another rumor says Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev is in works for UFC 313. This rumor spread after Ankalaev laid out his 2025 plan that he will beat Alex Pereira in March, then beat him again in a rematch in July, and then finally headlines UFC Abu Dhabi in October against the winner of Jamahal versus Jiri Prochazka. By the way, Justin Gaethje also wants to return to the octagon in March at UFC 313. He revealed the fights he has interest in for his return. Names include Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Alexander Volkanovski, Dan Hooker, and Max Holloway. After Dominic Cruz's statement that his next fight is going to be his last one, Henry Cejudo says he's open to be Dominic Cruz's final opponent. Top 10 middleweight Roman Dolidze also wants a fun fight in his return and has his sights on Rainier de Ridder, Bo Nickel, and Shara Bullet. There are UFC fighters who are looking for a fun fight, and there are PFL fighters who are just looking for a fight, wasting their prime in mere weight. Israel Adesanya says at Flagrant Podcast that he may have only a few years left in MMA. Women's bantamweight champion Juliana Pena also revealed at BITB show she has got 2 fights before she rides off into the sunset, and it looks like it is gonna be Kayla Harrison first and then Amanda Nunes. Dana White confirms that he is 100% done helping with presidential campaigns. He says Trump is a friend, but the rest of the GOP may be on their own, and he is never effing doing this again because he wants nothing to do with this disgusting, gross politics. He also talks about the negotiations for UFC's next broadcast rights and says that he knows there will be plenty of interested networks hoping to get into MMA business. And lastly, UFC welterweight Michael Venom Page has officially converted to Islam. Share your thoughts on his conversion and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the fight world. We have some big updates from the boxing world too, including Joel Romero's surprise return, but that we will discuss in the next video. So till then, do whatever you want.